People are always afraid to sell out. If you sell out with a week left in the month, it's not a big deal. You can have them sign up for next month's box. When you're building some hype like that, people will wait then. They don't want to miss out. Hey everybody, Chris George here. Welcome back to a No Excuses with Chris G. We've got Lizzie here, who is the founder of TreatCrate.com.au. Lizzie, thanks so much for being on today.
Thanks so much for having me.
Of course. And Lizzie, you applied to be on the show. We're happy to have you on. As all of you that might be watching for the first time, this is where I let subscription companies come on my show and just ask me anything that they want to ask me to help them build their business and make it better. If you have any questions, feel free to put them in the comments. And if I can pop them on the board, I will. But Lizzie, really quickly, give a quick background on yourself and a little bit more about TreatCrate.
So I am the founder of TreatCrate, and it's a subscription box for international snacks. So when people subscribe, I send them a box of snacks from a different country every month. So for example, this month is, here you go, Italy.
I love it.
Yeah.
And it's a monthly?
Yeah, it's monthly, and it's the first of its kind in Australia, but there's already a lot of people doing it overseas, particularly in the US. Yeah, and we haven't been around for long. It's been 2 years, so I hope to learn a lot from you today, Chris.
Of course. What does the sub box market look like in Australia right now? How many of them are there?
It's definitely still up and coming. I wouldn't say we're quite established yet, but we're definitely making some waves, particularly in the last few years.
It's good. So there's opportunity, which is great.
For sure, yeah.
That's great. So I got a chance to check out your website. I know we could talk through some of those things, but let's start off with your first question. Feel free to fire them off, and we're going to get to 3 or 4 questions here today.
Awesome, thank you. So I guess my biggest problem right now is to do with the supply side of things. I've reached a point where it's hard for me. I have a few hundred subscribers, and it's hard for me to rely on local importers to have the stock readily available for me all the time. So that means I would have to put orders in about 3 months in advance. But I don't know how to forecast how many subscribers I would have in the next 3 or 4 months.
So, yeah. That's interesting. So you're saying that some of these suppliers, they don't have it in stock to ship you right away?
Not in the numbers that I need.
That's interesting.
Because my product is international snacks, so they would have to import it in, and yeah. Is
the delay that they don't have it in stock, or is it the delay in the shipping and the importing of it? Is that the biggest problem?
I think both, but especially because it's the pandemic right now, but mainly more like they just don't order enough stock to have that ready, available.
And so if we can increase that timeline, right? Like, I don't know that I have a ton of advice on how to get the suppliers to ship it faster. I just feel like, are these snacks that are being sold in stores, and are there distributors that might be able to have large volumes of this product to get to you?
I guess not. That's my whole value proposition.
They're hard
having
to find.
Snacks that's hard to find. Yeah.
I like it. So now, if you could predict or get a good prediction of future subscriber growth, are you able to buy ahead of time and put the order in?
Yeah, I think for sure. Yeah.
Other thing you can do too is talk to the suppliers and ask them for some terms. Say, like, I'll pay this half down and half when it delivers. So then you're like not tying up cash flow. You're around 300 subscribers, you said?
Yeah, around that.
Okay. So one thing you can do, and I always like to say this, especially for new sub box companies, instead of like overshooting and being stuck with inventory, like, it's okay if you sell out. So when you sell out, it builds a little bit of demand. People get on a waiting list. People are always afraid to sell out, but like, if you sell out with a week left in the month, it's not a big deal. You can have them sign up for next month's box, right?
So that would mean that they will be waiting for around 4 to 5 weeks sometimes. Is that okay?
Get it? If you sold out, for sure, as long as you're transparent. So that's what's important, right?
Yeah.
People have a standard now, especially in the US, where they expect things in 1 or 2 days. And on the first order, I always like to have that shipped quickly. So I recommend to my brands to ship those priority mail, and then the renewals you can kind of send through the normal course of shipping. But if you're transparent, like, look, we're sold out. You're signing up for March so that you don't miss March. just know that it's not going to ship. It's not going to ship out till the 15th. As long as there's transparency there, and you got to remember when you're building some hype like that, people will wait then. Like they don't want to miss out. So, I think that the other thing too is you can also overbuy a little bit, right? And what you can do is use the extra inventory to create a mystery box that you sell in the future. So imagine like you put together, we're calling it our mystery world TreatCrate. So then it's like a mix of like, when you have extra inventory, you take a bunch from a bunch of different countries and you make a little mixed box and you sell that as an add-on. I'm a big advocate of mystery boxes. They're a really good way to move inventory. So if you overshoot by a little bit, you can get creative with creating mystery boxes that can be added on at purchase. And if you sell out, it's okay. Just you don't want to sell out too early. So, you also want to look at how many you're growing by each month and how many you're churning. That's really going to give you a good example. If you, the other thing too is, one thing that I think subscription companies make the mistake about is every single day they look at how many new customers they got, right? They're like, oh, I got 5 today, 10 today. The truth is we need to know what the net add is. How many did you get today? How many did you lose today? Whatever that delta is, that's the number. That's the KPI we're looking for. So at the end of the month, you added 40, you lost 35, you're growing by 5. Well, for June, we can make a pretty good prediction that you'll need 325 to 350 units. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Now, on the flip side, let's say that are you spending any money on marketing right now? Ads?
Just Google Ads at the moment.
Okay. And you're measuring success with that by cost per click and then, from there? Is that what you're doing?
For me, it's just the ROAS. Got it.
Yeah. So have you ever tried to scale that? Like, have you tried to add more fuel to the fire and see if it drove more conversions? Or not yet?
Not yet, but I recently started adding on more SEO work, and I have noticed an increase. But I think
noticed that on your the one page you had the list of all the different types of boxes. Like, I saw you were working on your SEO on that. That was really smart. Yeah. That's good. Yeah. So, are you going to get into Facebook ads at all?
So I'm hesitant to, because I know that once I do, I will get more demand. But I just don't have the stock to supply them with right now.
Got it. Yeah. Interesting. So I hate to think that like we don't want to grow and scale because we can't get volume. So like I think we need to try to solve for that. I would just double down on like solving for getting increased value. What I was going to get at was, if let's say in June you have 500 units. I'm giving you purely an example. Yeah. It's May, and you're only at 400. And based on your trajectory, you're only going to grow by 20. What you can do in June is double down on your marketing spend some more dollars, and acquire more customers to fill those orders. Right? Okay. So that's one thing. Pour more fuel to the fire, make up the delta so you're not stuck with the inventory. And that would be a really good strategy to like get you to sell out. So one, don't be afraid to sell out, but also if you've got more inventory, spend some more money on marketing, especially if the acquisition costs are at a number that makes sense. Put your dollars there, and then you'll acquire more customers.
So it's kind of about being a little bit more bold with my my actions and things like that.
Yeah, I mean, look, do you want to build a big business? Like if you want to scale, you want 10,000 subscribers, like this is what you have to do, right? And so that's how I would approach it.
Okay, awesome. Well, I guess that leads to the next question. Because I am a one-person show right now, what's your advice in terms of goal setting? Like, how big should I be growing? How quickly should I be growing? Things like that.
Yeah. What do you want? That's would be my first question. What do you want? What do you want this business to be? What's the dream scenario?
I mean, like a lot of subscription box owners out there, I'd say in the tens of thousands would be amazing, right? But then I'm thinking like, even if I'm in just a few thousands, that would still be pretty good, right? So I'm not too sure.
What drives you? Why did you start this?
I think I started it to begin with because it's just fun. I love the concept of it and just having my own business. And I think the growth aspect of it is what drives me. But the more and more I do it and I learn that there's a lot more to it, I think right now is just serving the customers because I think they value and appreciate the product. So I think that's what keeps me going right now.
Do you like treat? Do you like treats from all over the world?
Yeah.
Like, okay.
Yes. Yeah, I love traveling and things like that. And so especially right now, because we can't travel, I think the product is a little bit more valuable.
And so you're wearing every hat right now of the business: customer service, fulfillment, curation, everything. Right?
Yes. Yeah.
Are you running in profitability?
Yeah, I would say so. I never run out of costs. I think that's the whole point of subscription boxes, right? But I mean, when I start marketing more, perhaps I will.
Is this your only source of income, or is this a part-time project?
So this started as a part-time project, but I also recently quit my other part-time gig. So this kind of is full-time right now. Yeah.
So, you won't get to 2,000 or 1,000 subscribers without help, right? So every big business, like no one did it on their own, right? There's no entrepreneur that did it on their own. So I think what you need to identify is the parts of the business that you really enjoy. Double down on that. Take the parts that you don't enjoy as much and find somebody that can help out with it. Now you can get creative, right? For example, find somebody that you'll give them the monthly box for free and they'll take product pictures for you. So you have assets for social media. You'll have assets for the website. You'll have assets for, anything you want to do, like do some trade, right? Maybe you do a trade with somebody that you give them the box. They rate one blog a month for you. Now you've got more content out there. You hire someone part-time to help customer service. At 300 subscribers, you don't customer service is not that bad. I think you just froze, by the way. You're back now. I'm sure customer service isn't crazy at this point. What does the growth trajectory look like for 2021? Like, how many are you net adding a month? Are you staying sort of plateaued? Where are we at?
It's a little bit difficult for me to answer that right now because I'm still experiencing the Christmas growth. So we have a lot of churn because of the gift subscriptions. But I would say we're getting an extra maybe 50 per month.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're net adding 50?
No. So
yeah, how many are you losing?
Let's just say 30 to 50. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So by end of year, you might be at 800 or 900 at this rate potentially.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think the goal's got to be what you want. If you want to get to tens of thousands of subscribers, then you're going to have to, one, build what you can at your current rate, invest in people to help support. Imagine if instead of doing all the customer service and putting the boxes together, you get to spend more time on finding the items that are going in the box. I can imagine that's a lot of work. So now you might be able to find more items that can get you the volume that you need, that can get you in a timely manner, right? You can't do everything. I mean, the biggest brands have curation teams, where their whole team is just focused on getting the product in, taking customer feedback of what should go into future boxes, looking at ways to save costs, right? And that's a full-time job. So that's for you to scale and put the goals, it's got to be what you want. And to get there, you're not going to be able to do it on your own. You're going to have to hire some people. And if you're not ready now, just look at your financials and be like, well, when I get to 400 subs, I can hire a part-timer. And if I hire a part-timer, they're going to do this, this, and this. Make sense?
Okay. Yep.
Yeah. Good.
So I guess my next question is, eventually when I do start importing in products by myself, and I'm assuming that would be when I have at least 1,000 subscribers. I'm not sure. Are you familiar with the importing process? What I need to?
So you're saying if you create your own treats?
Oh no, as in as opposed to not going through local suppliers, I would import it in myself.
So right now you reach out to local suppliers that have access to these things and you buy it from them?
Yeah, so local importers.
So then you're paying a fee there. You got a middleman.
I guess so, but because my volume is small right now, it would be a lot more expensive if I did it myself because the shipping fee to Australia is massive.
So, we had a sourcing company. I know that when importing, there's duties and taxes, and there's a lot of things to consider and VAT and all this. I'm not that familiar with it. I think that as you start to grow, you're going to be able to do that. And I think that they'll be able to educate you on it. You also could build a relationship with like a port where like they manage all that as it comes in. Yeah, it's hard for me to say, and I apologize. My business isn't in Australia, so I don't know all of the ins and outs with that.
Yeah.
I just think, I guess you can't order from Italy and have them ship it directly to your warehouse. You're saying you have to order it from somebody local in Australia.
I guess it's just not cost effective right now for me to order from Italy because the freight kills. Yeah, the shipping kills us.
When does it become? When does it make sense? How many units?
When I can fill up a container, which I suppose is around at least 1,000 to 2,000 subscribers.
Oh, because air shipment costs way too much.
But even on sea freight, like I crunched the numbers, and it just makes sense when I have at least 1,000 or so.
What if you work with the local supplier to piggyback off of their shipment?
Yeah, so essentially that's what I'm doing right now. Yeah.
I mean, look at as far as I know now, that's like your best route. And then once you get up to a number where you can start to do it yourself, but again, that becomes a process. You might be able to find a company that can like manage that for you.
Yeah. Fingers crossed.
Yeah, for sure.
So my last question for today is, I guess you touched upon it, but because I am a solopreneur right now, wearing all hats, do you have any advice on just how to manage this all by myself right now? Yeah.
Listen, I know it's hard. The things that I find are the most helpful is like time managing your day. So using your calendar and making sure that you set certain times to handle certain things and sticking to it, right? It's easy to get distracted. Right, customer service ticket comes in, like there's like a meeting for this or a supplier call. Just time management, everything out, right? And thinking about customer service, thinking about the customer experience, thinking about social. I think if you can find some ways to outsource some of that at like a pretty low cost, you'll be able to double down on some other things that are going to really improve the business. And that's what I would do. I would just organize, time manage everything. And then find different ways, find really cool, unique ways. I mean, we all went through this. I mean, when we launched Gentleman's Box, like we had to do all the fulfillment at one of our warehouses, and like my brothers were there, and my partner's family was there, and the kids were there. Like everybody was just all hands in, right? We were buying pizza. Like, I think it's just like using a support system to find a little bit of help. And then once you get to a certain point, like set that as the North Star, like knowing like I can get this person when I get to X amount of subscribers. Doing that, and then you're gonna have to build a big business.
Do you have any tips for hiring people? Like, where can I go to find them for? I
don't know about finding them for the Australia market, but like the truth in hiring is like look for good team players. I always say that the smartest person in the room isn't always the one you want to hire, because sometimes what I'd rather have is somebody that was a team player and super passionate and ambitious about what their job is going to be, versus somebody that might be really smart. You know, the old saying is like a player that makes a team great is better than a great player. I look for team players. I'm all culture. Like I give like the success of our business to our amazing team. And like we have an amazing team that all works together. Everybody has so culture is very important. If I had like hundreds of employees, I'd probably have like a chief culture officer, like somebody that was just strictly in charge of that. So when hiring, look for people that like way more in on their personality. Are they a team player? Are they easy to work with? Versus like, oh, somebody's got a huge expertise, but like isn't a team player. Just my recommendation, things I've learned.
Awesome.
I know I looked at your website, and I was going to give you some feedback on that I think could be super helpful.
Oh, yes.
One thing is I looked on mobile first, and I think that what's very important is anything you're doing with your website, you want to think mobile. You want to be mobile friendly first, because you're probably looking at your Google Analytics. You'll see that more people are logging in from mobile than desktop.
Yeah.
If you look at your second section of wording, which is in the red, like it's kind of hard to read because it's white on some, and there's like a box in the background.
Yeah.
Something I would adjust there. I did want to say that I really like the video at the bottom where you've got the people trying the stuff. That's actually really cool. That's a really cool thing.
Thank you.
I bet you could create ads out of something like this too. So when you're thinking about Facebook ads, product review ads do really well. Plus, this is like, I'm assuming this is really good, authentic, like people responding to the treats, right?
Yeah.
Huh.
Oh, yeah, it is. Yeah.
Can you actually listen to this video if I click?
Yes. Yes. If not on the website, but if it links to YouTube, you can.
Let's make it link on the website. If I'm on the website, I want to be able to watch that video. Like maybe have a button here, like see what everybody has to say, like or something. Let them click and listen to it because I'd love to hear their reactions if I'm on this website.
Okay, sure. Yeah.
And keep up to date on the previous boxes. So you've got the 4th. I'd get November, December in there, January. And then like you could get, I also like the idea of getting like creative on like the call to actions, right? So all 3 of your call to actions are get started. Let's try like one's get started. One of them's like taste the world. One of them's like treat yourself and see which one gets clicked better.
Okay, sure.
Right? You want to be able to A/B test. So when you're doing things on a website, anytime you're building a website, the best thing you can do is run a hot jar. Have you heard of Hotjar?
Yes, I actually just heard of it yesterday.
Yeah. So be careful with Hotjar because when you start watching it, you can get really caught up in like watching people for hours. It's happened to me, but it's really cool because you get to see where everybody's clicking and where they're moving their mouse. Okay. And you start to identify like people are getting caught up in an area, right? Like maybe people are trying to click that video like I was to watch it and I can't. So then we know. Yeah. You also find out which one of those call to actions might work better. So I'd run Hotjar on there, try to get some insight. And then, you know, having an improvement in your conversion rate, right, that leads to more revenue. It leads to lower CAC. So very important. And then somebody posted a couple things here on the for questions. One said one goal could be to look at the income level versus the number of subscribers. So I think like, and they asked what the box was. So it's treatcrate.com.au. But you know, building on a financial doc, again, having a goal there towards like reaching a North Star of a new employee or a certain income level for you. I think that's very important. And then somebody said, I'm trying to figure out how to hire a virtual assistant kind of thing, how to trust them with passwords, customer contact information, etc. So for that Facebook user, I mean, look, you can do some due diligence on the companies that you might be working with on the virtual assistant side. In a lot of cases, it's not much different than hiring an assistant that works remote. So you can do your due diligence and interview that individual, but also like ask for references. Again, just like you'd be hiring somebody. If you're going to hire a virtual assistant, do some reference checks, talk to people they've worked with, look at feedback, and that'll help get that done for you.
Awesome.
And Lizzie, any last question here before we jump off?
Just quickly. So what are the main aspects of a website that we should really focus on? Because I kind of just drew this together without any prior knowledge.
Well, it's the experience, right? So the user experience is very important. One thing you could do and try is adding like a questionnaire. Like, what kind of treats do you like? Are they like, right? And like you start to learn information about the consumers. You're walking them through what I call micro commitments. I did a whole session with Eric from Sweatpants Agency where we talked about micro commitments. Having people like when you click the get started, it can start to ask them questions like, hey, what kind of treats do you like? How often are you eating treats weekly? Like, what are your favorite countries to have treats from? Where are countries you wish you could get treats from? It's going to start to give you some data, right? Yeah. And then you ask for their email address, and then you put them through the checkout. And if they leave, you've now acquired their email address, and you can like put them through a drip series to acquire them down the road, right? Yeah. And then again, you're just getting this data that's allowing you to make better decisions for the future. And as you get that data and you make better decisions, you're lowering your churn possibility, right? Because if a customer likes the box, they're less likely to cancel. And if you've got data that allows you to give them a better first-time experience, then there's less likely they're going to churn.
All right. So don't be afraid of making the process a little bit longer because I thought, okay.
It's funny you said that. Like 4 or 5 years ago, it was like throw them through the checkout process as fast as possible, right?
Yeah.
Now, no, like answering these questions, making them make micro commitments. People get caught up. They want to answer questions. They want to see what's going to lead to. But at the end of the day, it doesn't mean it works for every brand. So you A/B test it. So you build one page that has the questionnaire. You have the other page that doesn't have the questionnaire, and you have the website send 50% of the traffic to each landing page. And you see which one has a better conversion rate.
Alrighty. Awesome.
Make sense?
Yeah.
Awesome, Lizzie. Well, thanks a ton for jumping on. For those of you that are watching, if you want to be on this show, go to substa.com/Chris G. Happy to have you on. I love jumping on with entrepreneurs and giving them advice on how to build your business through subscriptions. Thank you all for watching. And Lizzie, I hope you have a great week, and I wish you much success with your business.
Thank you so much. Thanks so much for having me.